Last time on Zankichi Plays.
I will continue to have my fun and put the balance back in place. Sure thing, keep having fun. In the meantime, I know where you're going next. And remember, Kojin, at any time. Alright, Zankichi? He left. Well, I got words.
And now, the sequel.
Oh, much better. Yes, short hair. And you know what? Brushing it back actually makes a difference. So, Elden Ring, it's actually an awesome game.
Yeah, Elden Ring is yet another Souls-like game that made good strides when it was released, offering a few new gimmicks like horse riding and a jump button. It may sound silly this day and age, but a jump button on a game genre that never had it before makes a big difference. All the while, Elden Ring offers similar challenges and tropes that Souls-like games are known for. The presentation does not disappoint, and the mechanics are as smooth as butter.
In addition to a winning formula, another big pull that Elden Ring has is that the story was co-written by George R.R. Martin, the writer of the A Song of Ice and Fire novels that were then adapted to the highly acclaimed Game of Thrones series. With that said, the game is awesome and it is a joy to play. But why am I talking about it? You're probably asking, what is Kojin going to say about this game that is going to go against the flow and bring about the balance? Let's go back a few years ago. 2022 specifically.
2022 rolled around and Elden Ring was released in February. Players were stoked to get their hands on a new Souls-like game to immerse themselves in it, find ways to break it, and even speedrun it. 10 months later, the famous Video Game Awards event was streamed and many games, including Elden Ring, were nominated for various categories. But the one I'm talking about is the big one, the Game of the Year award, which is given to a game released on the same year that proved to be the greatest among the rest. Among the nominees were Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Stray, Plague Tale Requiem, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and Horizon Forbidden West. It looked like a clear winner was in sight as God of War was getting most of the awards that night. But out of nowhere, the Game of the Year award was given to Elden Ring over God of War. I was, and still am, in disbelief. Elden Ring stole that title from God of War, and it doesn't deserve it.
And that's what this is all about, proving that Elden Ring does not deserve that Game of the Year status. It's been 2 years, and taking advantage of that new DLC that came out, I am going to put my feet down and prove this game wrong!
So, why Elden Ring doesn't deserve Game of the Year? Sure, at the start I mentioned how the game is good and fun to play, but hear me out. Let's start with the story.
Shout out to those brave souls who scour every piece of lore in the Souls-like game to explain the stories.
The lands between are ravaged by war waged by the demigod children of Marika, goddess and vassal of the Greater Will, whose act of shattering the Elden Ring caused chaos across the land and earned her imprisonment in the Erd's Tree. In this turmoil, the Tarnished, those who are dead yet live, rise and are guided by the lost grace to fulfill the roles in this land. Your role, yes, you, is to become the Elden Lord and mend the Elden Ring. This here's a short premise, and a little spoiler, of what the game is about, so it's not the extensive version of the story. If I went on in detail, I would have included many characters that the story features, most of which have a very small part to play in it, and it would get confusing to keep track of them all. Here's my gripe with the story. Yes, I mentioned that the story was co-written by George R.R. Martin, and it's what you expect from a Souls-like game where the main objective is clear but not what it seems, non-playable characters talk about the main issue but are too busy with their own plans, and the endings are as obscure as they can be. But there's nothing about the lore that makes Elden Ring stand out among its predecessors. It's just like any other Souls-like game. There's no unique intrigue, plot twists are predictable, and betrayals are the same. And that to me is disappointing because they had a famous author co-write a story that feels and plays out like the rest. Now, does it offer a better story than its competitors back then? No, but seriously, the stories that Ragnarok, Xenoblade 3, and even Plague Tale offer are better than Elden Ring's. There's drama for starters. It includes tension, character development, and unexpected turnabouts, and it's all shown in the game without needing to do homework to find out what's going on, something Elden Ring fails to do even if the story is mildly entertaining. Yes, there is a place for this sort of storytelling, but if someone is looking for a story in a game where skill and gameplay are the main focus, then the next piece of lore that player finds would have less impact, or it may even be skipped when found.
For me, it's the former. As I traverse the lands between and search for my purpose, the countless battles I face take a toll on me, and my interest in the story begins to wane. I just realized.
I can think of other things that can prove that Elden Ring doesn't deserve Game of the Year, but all of it boils down to the same point.
It's just another Souls-like game.
Why this game? What makes it so special? The story develops the same as any Souls-like game. Gimmicks don't earn these games Game of the Year awards. The setting is still medieval fantasy like Dark Souls or even Demon Souls.
No. It's because it's open world, isn't it? It's that genre that went crazy popular after the virus of unknown origin struck our lives and forced us to stay indoors for long periods of time, isn't it?
There's no other explanation. Although all other Souls-like games include branching paths when players explore, they still are linear in their design. Elden Ring, on the other hand, is open world, meaning that they can tackle the story any way they please, and this is what tickled their pickle. It all devolves into game genres. Action-adventure games are a tired genre whose quote-unquote repetitiveness have been frowned upon over the years, while open-world games give players the option of doing whatever they want on their terms. Look, I don't dislike this genre in particular, but it's one of those that I get tired of after a few hours of playing. It's nice to get lost in a massive world, exploring every nook and cranny and getting stronger as you progress, but it mystifies me how I can spend hours doing side quests, getting lost, and collecting stuff while forgetting that there's a larger story at play.
I feel like I've wasted time in-game and in real life thinking that I have made no progress at all. Sure, I find a few things here and there, but it's not enough for me to feel accomplished.
Again, open world games are okay in my eyes, but they have to do more to keep me in. And to explain this, let me give you an example of an awesome open world game that was also robbed of the Game of the Year status. Ghost of Tsushima.
And do you want to know who took away that award from this awesome game? You guys know how I feel about this one.
Anyways, Ghost of Tsushima is a prime example of an open world game done right. Players have 3 islands to explore with many different kinds of collectibles to find, side missions, and story-driven side missions that give opportunity for the main character Jin Sakai to show more of himself and his development, a combat system that is adaptable to different kinds of enemies and situations, and an overarching main conflict where its effects are shown in every corner of the world. This is what I'm talking about, story progression and a large place to explore. If Elden Ring did it this way, it would have earned the award. Instead, it does some of these things like having a big place to explore and challenging combat. However, side quests don't have a strong impact on the player's character, and the effect of the main conflict is more of the same from other Souls-like games. Overall, Elden Ring just lacks, darn it.
It just doesn't make sense to me how Elden Ring got the Game of the Year award. I have spoken to others about this, and I can see their point of view about their preference of Elden Ring over God of War Ragnarok, but I am of the belief that Ragnarok is the better game. It has a compelling story, it has character growth, a nice twist to the Norse mythos, and smashing good gameplay. Elden Ring has its good things too, as I've been saying throughout this opinion of mine, but Game of the Year? It is not. It's just another Souls-like game. Change my mind!